Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's presentation on strengthening your immunity. This is an incredibly important topic. And what we're going to focus on today is understanding our immune system better, but focusing on what are the things that you can control. So much of the times, if you look at everything within the past year and a half, 2 years, so much of the time we focus on things that may be outside of our control. And so I want you to focus on today, what is it that you can take personal responsibility on for your health right now? Starting today, moving forward, what is it that is available to you to strengthen your immune system and really strengthen your way of living? So one of the things I want to talk about first is it's called terrain theory. And what we have to understand here is so much of modern medicine today looks at germs in the fact that they say, okay, well, germs cause disease. All right, so that's one way of thinking about infections and immunity. Germs cause diseases. But then the other way of thinking is that disease is caused from a weakened immune system. And so I really want that to sink in here. We need to worry less about the germs in the air and more about what it's going to land on. And that's the theory of terrain theory, basically saying create a strong, healthy body. So that way, when you are exposed, and you will, we all are exposed to pathogens and infections on a day-to-day basis. But what we have to understand is what is it that we can do that is within our own personal responsibility and personal control. So I thought that this was something that was really great and it was shared last night and really just kind of called out the fact that so many of us, we want to, do A, B, and C to avoid people and to do this or to do that. But in reality, we also need to say to ourselves, okay, how can we really build up our immune system? So that's what I want to talk about today. So I like to start every presentation with doing a quick bit of reflection. And I just want you to jot down in your notes or just make a mental note as to what are the top 3 reasons why you want to live healthy. So it's important for us to consider that. Why is it that you want to live healthy right now? Not later, not 2 years from now, right now. Why do you want to live healthy? So take a minute to consider that as we move forward. I also want you to put in your conscious mind, what are 3 things that you need to change? Oftentimes we know that we can be better and we should be better, but we have to be very specific in our thinking to say, okay, well, what are the specifics that we need to change? And being fortunate to be a health instructor in a university setting, for me, I always say to my students, don't say I want to lose weight, or don't say I want to run more or move more. I say to them, let's be very specific. What specifically do you need to do? And so when we know our why, and then we start to focus on the core behaviors we need to address, it gives us clarity. And when we have that clarity and that focus, it really sets us up for success. So one of the things that I always promote as my message to anybody is lifestyle is a game changer. How you live your life is incredibly important. The majority of chronic diseases that we suffer from nowadays in American culture and expandingly throughout the world are related to chronic diseases. I want you to think of chronic diseases as this: a lifestyle caused disease. So if lifestyle is the cause, lifestyle is the answer. So lifestyle is the game changer. All right. So when we're considering preventing health problems or current health problems, we want to say, okay, what is the cause of this problem? And what can we do about it to right the ship? Is it easy? No, not always. But is it possible? Absolutely. And so we need to understand that. And when we look at lifestyle and we look at the new, well, it's not really new, it's been around, but it's just kind of repurposed throughout the years, is the concept of lifestyle medicine. And it really comes down to 6 core areas: improving our sleep, eating well, moving more, stressing less, building and maintaining strong relationships, and avoiding risky substances. Now, we might look at that and say, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff. And it is. But if we create a lifestyle in which we place these areas as important to our health, we will be able to set ourselves up for success. And especially when it comes to our topic of the day, which is immunity and strengthening our immune system and our immune response, All of these 6 areas play a huge role. They play an incredibly important role, and we'll call out some of those today. But I want you to know that this is a healthy life. If we can have a good, healthy balance of all these, and again, we're going to talk about the specifics as to what is eating healthy. Oftentimes people say, oh, well, healthy eating, diet, exercise. It's like, okay, well, what is that? What is healthy eating, and how do we define that? So one of the things I want you to understand, and I want you to reflect on for a minute, is why do you want to strengthen your immunity? Is it to, prevent against COVID? Is it to, strengthen your immune system so when you are sick, your body responds better? What exactly is it, that comes to mind when you think about, well, why do you want to strengthen your immunity? Like, I know for me personally, I want to strengthen my immunity. So when I am exposed to in pathogens, my body is like a well-oiled machine, and I have, a strong military system ready to defeat the bad guy, so to speak, the pathogen. So for you, what is it for you? Why is it that you want to strengthen your own immunity? So one of the things that we do with Live and Lead is, and I meant to mention that this presentation is part of our Live Better series. We have 9 presentations we're doing from the beginning of the fall through the midpoint of December of this year. What we do is we create a lot of health education courses, workshops on all of these different topics. So as mentioned, today is all around immunity. So what we did was we took all of the different information and educational resources and good practice to say, okay, what can we do? What are the things that are within our control to strengthen our immune system? So I'm only going to speak to 3 of these today, but I do want you to know that these topics are all very important, and again, within our control. Some of them are a little easier than others, but at the same time, these are some of the things we can do. One of the things that I think is incredible when people say, what can I do about this? What can I do about that? And the answer is there's always something. So what I want to challenge you to do is think of your lifestyle and consider some of these on the list. Can you do any of these that I'm going to quickly go through? Consuming immune boosting foods is huge. And this is one of the things we have to call out, is that the number one cause of death and disability in the entire world is our diet. It's what we feed ourselves day after day, meal after meal. So grandma, great grandma, mom and dad, they were right. Eat your fruits and veggies. We need to eat in color, and we need to eat an abundance of a variety of fruits and vegetables. They are, what I consider God's candy, but they are also incredibly beneficial to our immune system. Think of it like this. Consider an apple. If you take an apple, you pick an apple off a tree, that apple is protected. That apple, the outer skin, has antioxidants, and it has all kinds of phytochemicals and great nutrients, the skin and the apple itself. If you peel that apple and leave that apple on outside, it's going to start to brown, and over time it will rot much quicker. Now, what happens is when we consume that, we get the benefits that are naturally in fruits and vegetables. So when we eat those antioxidants, we get those same properties. So one of the things that we have to understand is that when we eat good things, they add value to us and they strengthen our immune system. So number one, just to simplify it, is fruits and vegetables. We should be shooting for 5 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. And you might think that's impossible, but it is absolutely possible. We'll come back to that topic specifically. Getting moving. Moving strengthens our immune system. One of the things that doesn't happen is, over the past year and a half, in the middle of a challenging situation across the world, nobody's talking about improving our own personal health. Nobody's talking about what are the day-to-day lifestyle behaviors you can incorporate to strengthen your immune system. And that, to me, is a public health fail. We need to focus the conversation around what can you do? Yes, there's A, B, and C over here, but there's a long list of things that are possible within your own lifestyle. So getting moving is a big part of that. And it doesn't have to be running on a treadmill or doing excessive exercise. It's simply moving more, gardening, walking, getting outside, getting in fresh air, getting the vitamin D from the sun, and being physically active. Sleeping is essential. Our goal is 7 to 9 hours daily. We need sleep. We need to focus on getting both good quality and quantity sleep. Sleep is essential to our immune system. I always tell my students, think of it like this. If you get 7 hours, you're at 100% the next day. Your body's functioning very well. If you get 6 hours, you're at 80%. You get 5 hours, you're at 60%. So essentially the analogy there is to help you understand that the less you get, the more challenges your body's going to have with all areas of our health. Eating well, we're going to focus on today. We want to make our fat intake count. We want to get our fat from good sources, from natural plant-based sources, and less from the animal-based products that we so often think. We need the animal protein, we need the animal fat. Unfortunately, it's not as good for us, and it doesn't add as much value as getting it from plant sources. Hydration. Big message from the doctors and the medical practitioners yesterday was a good amount of people that are struggling with COVID are dehydrated. Hydration is essential. We should be drinking water throughout the day. Water is incredibly important to our overall health, but also our immune system. Stress. Oftentimes we need to understand that stressors are always going to be present in our life. We can't run from them, we can't hide from them, but we need to understand that how we react to our stressors is very important. I always put stressors in two buckets. If it's important and controllable, your job is to take action. If it's important but uncontrollable, your job is to accept and positively cope. That's the responsibility that we all have in front of us. Strengthening our social health. And I would also lump in here to our spiritual health, understanding that having good relationships is very beneficial to our immune system. And so when we're sick or when we need care, we need that caregiver. We need somebody that's there to support us, to encourage us, and to tell us, you're not doing too good. You need somebody on the other side really guiding you and helping you, and also not losing hope. I talked to some individuals yesterday and they feel hopeless with all the challenges we have. And that's the thing, is as soon as we start thinking that in that way, it's only going to be negative from there. So we have to go from hopeless to full of hope and always keep a positive mindset. And I'm not going to go through everything here, but preventing and reversing chronic diseases is important. According to the CDC and the World Health Organization, the majority of people that have been negatively affected and have died from COVID are people that have 3 or 4 or more comorbidities, meaning they have a lot of other challenges and health problems on top of the COVID and on top of the infection. So like I said earlier, the terrain theory is focusing on making your health and your immune system not compromised. So when you do get sick, your body's much more able to deal with it. We also want to focus on avoiding toxins, tobacco, alcohol, and toxins that come from our food. These are all incredibly challenging things that we want to avoid and or limit. We're not going to always be perfect. There's some things that we're not going to be able to avoid. However, we need to understand that there's room here for improvement. The last two on the list are supplement where needed. I think that a good recommendation for all of us is to get your vitamins and your minerals primarily from foods. However, supplement where needed. If somebody's low on vitamin D, then they should absolutely take a vitamin D supplement or get outside more, be very intentional. But depending on our climate and where we live, we might not get as much vitamin D. So having fortified fruits and vegetables and or multivitamins, vitamin B12, vitamin C's, these are things that are beneficial and good for us. It's kind of like checking the box to say, okay, did I get enough through my diet? If not, supplements can be beneficial. But keep in mind that we need to get the majority of our supplements from our food, not from a pill. Sometimes we have what's called, toxic amounts of vitamins as well. Some of them not as big of a deal if we have extra, but some of them can have detrimental effects if we overload as well. And then practice good hygiene. This is something that has been mentioned a lot throughout the last year and a half, but it's one piece of a very large puzzle. Absolutely, if you're sick, you should stay home. If you're sneezing or coughing, you should wash your hand. You should do it away from people. There's certain basic things that we've all been raised with throughout our life that we need to practice, and we need to be mindful of how we can, allow our body to heal and, prevent the risk of, going in front of somebody else. If you're at a party and somebody's coughing and hacking right next to you as you're reaching for your meal, that's not really a good sign. So just being conscious of basic good hygiene habits. All right, so what I want to do here is I want to kind of dive into the different topics and focus on what is it that we can do to really get specific into three main topics: consuming immune boosting foods, getting moving, and sleeping more. All right, so now when we think of our immune system, the first thing we should think of is nutrition. Again, if you turn on the news, you turn on the TV, I haven't seen anything talking about how to get healthy. Here's how, here's why. It's been very limited. But from a health perspective, we need to understand that nutrition is one of the single greatest things we can do to strengthen our immune system. So with anything, it's important that we focus on the why, the how, and the what. In any behavior change, we need to identify why is it that we're doing it. Whether we're looking to lose weight, to prevent a chronic or prevent or treat a chronic disease, to strengthen our immune system, we have to know why. Why do you want to do this? So for you, why do you want to strengthen your immune system? Do you want to make sure that your body's ready for any infection, to make sure that you have a quick recovery from an illness or a virus? And the reason why I always leave blank spots here is for you to customize that and say to yourself, well, what is it that I can do? Or why is it that I can that I want to do this? But then you dive into the what. What are some things you can actually do? And the quickest and easiest thing that we all need to do is focus on getting more fruits and vegetables, more unprocessed, whole food, plant-based options. And the best foods for this are our fruits, our vegetables, our whole grains, and our legumes. That is what we want to get. We want to center our diet around those 4 food groups. In addition to those, mushrooms, nuts, seeds, all of those items are also incredibly important and beneficial for us. So what we have to do is focus on, okay, well, why do I want to do it? I want to have a strong immune system so when I get sick, I recover quick. I want to do it by eating more whole, unprocessed plant-based foods. And then specifically, how are you going to do that? Well, I'm going to eat 2 fruits or vegetables with every meal. I'm going to have a green veggie smoothie filled with fruits and kale and spinach and all kinds of good things. What specifically is your plan on how you're going to do that? I mean, and there's all kinds of different things like garlic and citrus fruits and onions and mushrooms, all kinds of things that are naturally really good for us. The doctors recommended yesterday that turmeric is one that we should all be getting daily. So having the turmeric in our diet is incredibly important. You can eat it, you can drink it in tea type formats. You can also have the star of anise. You can make tea from that. That's something that's very important. It has a chemical compound called cerumen that's very beneficial for our body and for our immune system. And the star of anise tea, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but the star of anise, it's these little things that my wife often uses for soups, but you can reuse that up to 7 to 10 times. But that's something that we should be consuming daily. They also mentioned be mindful that we are taking vitamin D, and we're getting a multivitamin, and our diet is rich in vitamin C. These are a lot of the things that they said from an immune boosting perspective. It's very important for us. So one of the things I want to call out here is that when you are improving your diet and your nutrition, focus on making small changes over time. Know the long-term goal, know where you're walking towards, where you're wanting to get to, but focus on the day-to-day, the habits and behaviors that you really want to implement. And focus on, what are the steps you can do that progressively over time you'll improve. This is just a quick testimonial from Bill. Bill is in his late 70s, and he made this change to a plant-based diet, him and his wife, Lori, a few years ago, and his life got incredibly better in that his energy went up, his clarity went up, he gets sick way less. His health improved dramatically. And he's one of the biggest advocates now, for this way of eating and living. And, he always brags about the fact that not that he had a heart attack a long time ago, but that his doctor says he's the longest living heart attack patient he's ever had. And he had it, 30 plus years ago, and he's just living healthier and healthier by the day. So consider, as we read somebody's testimonial, what would your testimonial be? What would that look like for you? The next item I want to call out is moving more. This is a gift that we're all given, and focusing on getting the movement. Again, we want to focus on our why, our how, and our what. So when it comes to our immune system, it's it's a double-edged sword here, but you really have to focus on, if you are exercising excessively, then sometimes it can be draining on your body. If you go too hard, too much, too high of intensity, and you don't allow for recovery. So what you have to understand here is that a lot of the research shows that from an immune system perspective, daily activity is beneficial. We want the walking, we want the exercise, we want that on a regular basis because it naturally increases our immune system and it strengthens our defense system. So again, knowing that it helps our immune system, what's your why, what's your what, what's your how? So you might say, okay, why? I want to feel better, I want better clarity, and I want a stronger immune system so I can fight off infections. My what is daily walking. My how is, okay, I'm going to walk 3 20-minute walks a day, morning, afternoon, night. You want to be very intentional and specific. And one of the things I always say about exercise, focus on things you enjoy doing. If you don't enjoy it, don't do it. Do the things you enjoy. The best exercise is what you do and what you like, because then it becomes a habit that you can sustain over time. Lisa, a quick testimonial from Lisa. She and her family switched to a plant-based diet about 2 years ago, and they had dramatic benefits. You could see here that her daughter had all kinds of chronic congestion, and she has now been, her whole family's been on a plant-based diet for about 2+ years. Her daughter has no breathing issues, no congestion, no challenges. Lisa was able to get her blood pressure within good range, and naturally everybody got healthy. And it's just such a gift to see that your body wants to clean up. We just have to stop hurting it and start helping it. The last area I really wanted to call out today was sleeping soundly. Sleep is essential. We do not want to bypass the benefits of sleep. So consider this, we're supposed to sleep about 1/3 of our life. 1/3 of our life. So if we live to 100, you're talking about 33+ years of our life asleep. Now you can look at that one of two ways and say, wow, what a waste of time. Or you can think, wow, it's so important that our body is resting, it's repairing, and it's energizing while we sleep. So I always think like this, if you want the 2/3 of your awake life to be both good quality and quantity, you need to focus and prioritize on getting good quality sleep daily. So again, what's your why? Why do you want to sleep more? Well, I want to be energized. I don't want to be tired. I don't want to have to take a nap in the middle of the day. I want to be able to get through all the daily tasks that I set forward. What's your what? Okay, well, I'm going to have a consistent routine. I'm going to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. I'm going to shoot for 8 every single night. So then, all right, what's your how? Well, I'm going to be physically active during the day, so I'm physically tired. I'm going to do relaxing things at night. I'm going to turn the lights down, turn off the technology close to bedtime, and I'm going to try to go to bed by 10 o'clock and have a consistent schedule. That's up to you to pick what works for you. What is your schedule like? What are the day-to-day behaviors that you really want to incorporate to help yourself from a sleep perspective? Here's another quick quote from Kathy and Charles. So as you can see from the quick call out that I pulled out, they are in their late 70s and early 80s, and they made this shift a couple years ago. And for example, I know that Kathy specifically, her cholesterol was higher her entire life. She did everything possible to lower her cholesterol. She switched to a mostly plant-based diet, and within 3 months, her cholesterol dropped 50+ points. It's a modern miracle. Okay, the reason being is that she stopped consuming it, and your body makes cholesterol. You do not have to consume a milligram of dietary cholesterol. So again, it doesn't matter whether we're 15, we're 50, or we're in our 80s. Our body is a self-healing machine, and what we have to do is we have to stand back and allow it to heal. No matter what your challenges are, no matter what you're going through, you have the ability to set your body up for success, to strengthen your immune system and really help it heal. All right, so we can improve our sleep, improve our nutrition, activities, stress, relationships, and risky substances. So at the end of the day, the main message here for us all is that with all of these combination of areas, we can absolutely live better. It's important for us to understand that we can do it. Okay. So we talked a little bit about the why, the how, and the what, but what we have to focus on is that you have to first adjust your mindset and know that what you are setting out to do with your health and your life, you have to change your mindset and have an I can mindset. You have to think, I can do it. I can, I will, I must. Say that to yourself. I can, I will, I must. This is a really important piece of it. Oftentimes we focus on the how and the what, but our mind is not in it. So we have to get over the barriers, get over the challenges that we're facing, and really focus on moving forward and stepping up our game to do better. And we also have to know that behavior change is a process. It is not a quick fix. I'm done. I got a good night's sleep. I ate an apple. My problems are solved. It's a process. You have to know that it takes time. It takes consistency. And over time, you will absolutely get better. All right. So when you think about the year ahead, what I want to ask you is, what does a good 12 months look like for you? A year from now, where do you want to be? Do you want to be at a healthier weight? Do you want to be, free of any chronic diseases? Do you want to just be overall feeling great, energized, mental clarity? Do you want to deal with hormones and challenges? What is it specifically a year from now? Like, kind of, if you were to think about what's your testimonial, what's your story, what's your success story? What does that look like? And then start to put that into perspective. And then after that, you need to kind of focus and say, okay, well, what are the key behaviors? I do this with my students all the time. And I say, all right, pick one, pick two, pick three. Pick the behaviors that are really important for you that you want to focus on right now. Right now, what are the areas you're going to address and focus on? And get clarity over the next 3 months. I'm going to do these things. I'm going to improve my sleep. I'm going to improve my activity. Done. Those are my intentions. And then once you have your intentions, you then say, now, how am I going to act on those intentions? Because good intentions mean nothing. We all know that. Good intentions mean absolutely nothing. Intentions and values that are acted on daily, that's where the magic happens. So we have to focus on, what are our 3-month goals? A lot of us might say, oh, well, in the next 3 months, I have Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's not a good time for healthy living. I'll deal with it in January. And then come January, it's like, oh, well, it's winter, it's not much daylight. I don't really want to start exercising now. I'll wait till spring. Spring, we got a lot of events going on, a lot of sports and activity. There's no better time than right now. The next 90 days can be an incredible part of your life and an incredible period of your life. All right. So wrapping up here, I want to call it a few things, and I want to give you some hope. And I want you to understand that hope is essential to healthy living. We have to know that we can improve, and we deserve a healthy life. We personally deserve to be healthy and happy and live the life that we want for ourselves. And so what I want to ask you is, are you next? Are you somebody that is ready and willing to make the changes? People say, well, who do you want to work with? And I say, I want to work with people who want it and who are ready and willing to make the changes and improve. A quick mention here, I want to play this video on our course. We have a roughly 2 to 3, 4-hour course called Strengthen Your Immunity. So let me play this for you guys. I don't know that it wants to play. All right, well, we'll table that for now if it's not allowing us to play. But when we think about our immune system, I do want to let you know that we, with our Live and Lead resources, we have all kinds of free, complimentary challenges and courses. We have self-directed courses. We are in the process of rolling out a new group coaching program where we basically want to take people from where they are now, help them create a path of where they want to get to, and then go through and make the changes along the way and figure out, okay, well, what is it that we need to do to really make improvements and move forward? So when it comes to strengthening your immunity, you have to understand that you have to craft your transformation to really fit you where you are. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. Every single one of us, I'm sure, want to strengthen our immune system. But what we have to do is say, okay, well, why do I want to do it? And what are my specific behaviors and my specific plans to do this? And so what's really great is that within our courses, we have everything we talked about today, but it really allows you to personalize it for you. So you might say, oh, well, these 4 areas are really important to me. I'm doing okay in these areas. But the goal here is to focus on how can we improve and how can we really focus on the behavioral process. So much of the time, we know what we need to do, but we don't necessarily know the how and the why, and we don't have the accountability and the support to get there. And that's what we're looking to do with the group coaching offering, is essentially to say, we're in this together. Every single one of us that comes together in our community, we all have goals. We all value health, but sometimes we might be struggling with A or B or C. Your problems are not unique. They are yours and they are personal, but they are not unique. Any of the challenges you've had from a health perspective, somebody out there has similar challenges. And so what we have to focus on is being solutions focused and focusing on how can we address the causes of these problems. If we have a weakened immune system, why? Why do we have a weakened immune system? What are the behavioral areas? What are the lifestyle areas that we can address to really make some improvements and significantly improve? So anyway, just a quick mention there about our group coaching program. We're going to be kicking it off next month. And it's a 12-week offering where we're going to do it together. We're going to go through and say, okay, let's get together and let's focus on how we all can improve and make steps in a positive direction. I can tell you this, I've had the privilege and the honor to have done this with over 2,000 students. And I always say to my students at the beginning, if you are ready and willing to make some changes and you cast your vision and you act on it, you will be successful. Everybody's success looks slightly different, but the process works, the system works. And it's not some quick fix or fad diet, anything like that. It is a sustainable behavior change approach that says, here's where I am, here's where I want to go. Like, we get down to goal setting and objectives and weekly goals and journaling and all of that. And it works. And I can tell you, it's just such an honor to see people's lives improve. It is such a blessing. So, and I'm going to send out the presentation for everybody to see, but this is a little bit about our group coaching. Let's see if this plays. If this doesn't play, then I will scratch that again. All right. So in my viewing mode, it's not letting me play it. So we'll scratch that for now. So what I want to offer to all of you guys is to let's set up a call and talk about where you are. No strings attached. I'm not somebody that just really wants to, kind of say, oh, you must. I want to be able to support you and let you speak to where you are and what are you working on. And if there's any way that I can personally help you get on a path for success, that is what I really know. Aside from my faith and my family, I know that another key area of my life is health. And my goal is to help people really live their best life and maximize their life from a health perspective, because we all know that when our health is in a good place, our life is oftentimes in a much better place as well. So I think of it as having a compounding effect. So my job in my area is to really support you and guide you and be there to kind of encourage you and give you hope. And like I said, we all need to go from being hopeless to full of hope and know that where there's a will, there is a way. We do have a few more seminars coming up. So we have 5 more. This is the 4th of 9 that we're completing today. We have 5 more topics, as you can see, from high blood pressure to cholesterol to diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and cancer. These are all incredibly beneficial. And I can tell you, where there's a topic, there are stories behind these topics as to where somebody has changed their behavior, changed their lifestyle, and improved in all these areas. So what we've been doing with all the Live Better seminars is, if you register for one, we're inviting you to all. But the way we're doing it now is we have basically a registration Google form that people can sign up. So if you know anybody that wants to come, I would please welcome you to invite anybody you'd like to join us. We want to get better together. And then lastly, if you want to join our community, we have a Facebook group. We have a private Facebook community. We're looking at doing a separate community off of Facebook as well. We have a Facebook page, we have Instagram. We would love for you to join. And a good first step for everybody, if you haven't, I would love to invite you to join our school. We have a complimentary online school where we have challenges, courses, and all kinds of good offerings. And by signing up for our school, you will get all of our communications, all of our messaging about topics and challenges and offerings. And also, if you have any feedback, we would love to know that. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for your time today. I really do appreciate the fact that you guys are here for a reason. Like I chatted with some of you about, I don't know why I'm here or how I got to here, and I don't even know you, but you're here. And I'm thankful that you are here because I can tell you that, again, you do matter and your health matters. So it's an important thing for us to all understand is that we can improve. And remember, like I said at the beginning, lifestyle is a game changer. So thank you everybody for attending.